Hi, I'm David Michaels. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk about spirituality, metaphysics, life purpose, connecting to God, personal growth and development, all through a spiritual lens. This video is inspired by a question someone emailed me asking about enlightenment. Do enlightened people never get angry, scared, stressed out? Do they never yell at and get angry with other people? Um, what does it mean to be enlightened? And I want to give you an honest answer. I want to give you an imperfect answer because I don't think I have the answer on it. I was really thinking about this and I'm like, how do I define enlightened? Like, for me personally, is it the person's just never disturbed? Like, they have this eternal internal sense of peace and stability, and nothing rocks their boat, nothing shakes them. No matter what's going on in their world and their life, there could be a war going on around them and bombs going off, or they're about to file bankrupt or get divorced or whatever, and they're like, it's cool, I'm enlightened, nothing bothers me. Is that enlightenment? Is enlightenment just higher spiritual awareness, just understanding and meditating on the nature of God and the purpose of life, and maybe the metaphysics, the mechanics of how the spiritual reality works? And if you know that and you understand that and you believe in that, does that make you enlightened? Is it just a degree of wisdom in general in life? And as I was thinking about this, I realized I believe enlightenment isn't actually any kind of level or destination that we get to. It's not yesterday you weren't enlightened and today you are. I don't think it's that kind of on off, black and white kind of thing. I think it's, you can always grow. You can always become more enlightened than you were before. And you are someone who watches videos like this. You, I'm guessing, are into personal growth and development. You have an interest in spirituality. You want to learn more. You want to grow in this area. And my guess is I'm probably not the first video you've ever watched. You've probably read books, talked to other people, watched other videos, given it a lot of thought yourself. You're already more enlightened than people who haven't done anything like that. You're already on the journey. And yeah, maybe you and I aren't as enlightened as some guru who's been sitting on a mountain meditating for the last 30 years. But then maybe we are, because how much are you going to learn living in isolation? I'm sure you can learn a lot about yourself and about God. I'm not devaluing or negating that. But you learn a lot by just being in the real world, interacting with a lot of imperfect people all the time. When you really get challenged, you really get tested, and people cheat and take advantage and steal from you and are mean to you, I think we learn a lot more about love and patience and peace and forgiveness when we're in that environment, because it's we're in the thick of it, we're in the fire, and it's you've got to master the skills, not just understand them theoretically. So my point is, there's many ways to learn and do whatever's worked for you. Maybe you feel called to go off to a monastery and just meditate for 6 months. Great, do that. You will gain something from that, especially if your heart's calling you to it. But I don't want to say that's the only way to gain wisdom or enlightenment. I think we can get it in everyday life, just raising kids. I had a pet parakeet that he's no longer with us in physical form, but when he was still alive, I loved him very, very much. And I felt a strong connection to him. He was like a kid to me. And because I don't have any actual human kids in real life. In real life. Why did I say in real life? Obviously, we're in real life here. He was the closest thing I had to a child. And, he's a little bird. And the things about pets is that they're like kids that never grow up. And they always need attention. They're always making noise. They're always making messes. You got to feed them all the time. They're never like self-sufficient. You got to clean the cage and give them fresh water and refill their seed dish every day and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes like I'm trying to work and the bird wants attention and he's squawking at me. He's like, no, give me attention. I'm like, I have to work, but I want to play. I want attention. I want to connect. And sometimes that bird has bitten me. Sometimes, often, if he's sitting on my shoulder or whatever, he would poop on me. And it's, oh man, like you just came out of the cage. You sat on my shoulder for 2 seconds and you're already pooping on me. Why? That's what birds do, right? So there were moments that he annoyed me. He irritated me. It was inconvenient. I'm also an actor and we have to do a lot of auditions at home where, you kind of set up the camera like this on a tripod and they give you the script and you find someone to read the dialogue with you and you just say your part and you have to like film it and you want to give a good take, a good recording, and quickly email that back to the casting director. And it's really hard to do that when my beloved Parakeet, who was just peacefully sitting quietly in his cage all afternoon, but the minute I turn on that camera and start speaking, he's all excited and he starts talking and chirping on top of me, not even in between my lines, like on top of my lines, on top of my dialogue. And I'm like, I just need some clean audio, please, so I can record this audition and get it in and move on with my life. And there were times I literally had to move the birdcage into another room so that he couldn't hear or see me and I couldn't hear him long enough just to record the audition. So, these are just fun, silly examples. But my point is, I loved that bird unconditionally. Like I said, he was like a kid to me. And even though he irritated me and it was inconvenient and annoying and would poop on me and stuff, that didn't change my love for him. If anything, it validated that love. It reaffirmed it, strengthened it. It tested the love and showed that it was real. And to tie this into enlightenment, it's one thing to have the answers, have the knowledge, have the wisdom. It's another thing to test it in real life situations and prove that it is real and integrated in you. And that you have mastered the lesson, not just understand it on a purely intellectual level kind of thing. And I think that's really kind of applies to everything in life about love and enlightenment, anything, any spiritual personal growth skill related thing that we're trying to master as a soul. It's proven, it's tested, it's refined, it's strengthened, it's improved when it faces those challenges. So we can absolutely learn enlightenment and practice enlightenment, strengthen our enlightenment in everyday real life, in the business world, in the home life, with friends, family, coworkers, enemies, social media, politicians who might be triggering you with whatever they're saying. All of that is an opportunity for you to discover where on the spectrum of enlightenment you are in that moment and where there's opportunities to strengthen and get better and work on some more. I will say that in the past, there have been one or more politicians who would say and do things that were really triggering me. I would really lose my cool. I'd get stressed. I'd get scared. I would worry about the direction things were going. And I would feel very powerless. I'm like, what can I do about it? And in the first moment, when I'm being triggered, like I'm feeling angry or scared or something. But then I've learned, I've been trained, I have practice of as soon as I realize I'm being triggered, that I'm reacting emotionally to something in my world, then my next step is to pause and ask myself why. What about this is bothering me? And go deep. Don't go to like just the obvious, well, this is a bad thing. Okay, but why is this bothering me so much personally, emotionally? And I would dig deeper and deeper and deeper to get to the root of, because there's lots of stuff happening in the world. Why does some of it bother me more than other things? What is it about that thing that was said or that situation, that event that really got those emotions going versus other horrible things that have happened? I'm like, oh, that's terrible. That shouldn't be, but it didn't like create the same emotional response. I didn't like lose my cool the same way. So I would dig and dig and dig, and eventually I would get to a level where there was some personal wound from my own personal life that was touching and triggering. It was bringing back personal memories I had lived through that were unpleasant and kind of indirectly making me relive it, remember it, re-experience it in a certain way. It also showed me where I didn't trust, where I didn't believe in myself or in God or in the goodness of other people or the system or whatever. I used these triggers as starting points, as prompts to dig deeper into my own psyche, my own soul, my own heart, to say what's going on in me that needs love, that needs healing, that needs being addressed one way or another. And for me, a lot of what was triggering me was a totally other relationship I had in my personal life that politician deeply reminded me of, and all the negative, painful, traumatic experiences I had with that personal relationship. So every time that politician would trigger me, I would turn inward and say, okay, what part of me needs healing from that personal relationship? What memory is this one bringing up now? What part of myself still needs love? What part of myself needs forgiveness? Or that relationship, that personal person. I've done a lot of forgiveness work, but maybe is there more forgiving to be done, more releasing to be done? And that's where the hard work comes in. But I will say that politician doesn't trigger me anymore. It took a while, but eventually, every time I got triggered, I would go inward and I would find what was at the root and do the inner healing, the inner loving, the inner forgiving, the inner releasing, the whatever was needed, whatever was appropriate for that particular situation, that time. That politician helped me grow personally, spiritually, on the soul level, because now those wounds have been addressed more. They've been healed more. They've been processed more. I've been able to release more because they were bringing it up on an unconscious level. It didn't seem on the surface like it was obviously connected, but when I dug deep, I saw like, oh yeah, they're definitely reminding me of this other thing. So now, like I said, they do say whatever they want. And I could be like, yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's the right direction to go. But it's not causing me to overreact. I'm not losing my cool. I'm not getting stressed or scared or angry anymore. I have found peace no matter what's going on outside of me, at least in that particular area with that particular politician kind of thing. And you can apply this to your boss, someone a coworker, a friend, a child of your own who might be saying and triggering all kinds of things. It's a human relationship, and whether you know them personally or not, if they're just some public figure that you're following online or in the news or whatever, if anything they're saying or doing or thinking or feeling or believing is causing you to feel off balance, causing you to lose your peace, your cool, your center, all that is an opportunity for you to turn inward and say, why? What belief do I have? What emotional wound is being triggered and touched? What part of me needs healing and love and patience and understanding, compassion, forgiveness? what past traumas need to be processed and released and grieved and felt, whatever the case might be for you. And eventually, nothing will have changed in the outside world. Those same people will be saying and doing the same thing, but it won't bother you anymore. And I think that is an example of making progress, growing in enlightenment. So, do enlightened people never lose their cool? Are they always calm? They never get angry or scared? No, I think enlightened people use when they lose their balance, when they get off center, they use it as an opportunity to go deeper and to grow further. I think enlightened people maybe get bothered less and less by more and more things because they're doing that inner work as these triggers are coming up. And you do this long enough, eventually you start running out of things that trigger you anymore. And when you do get triggered, you're kind of in a habit, you're used to, you're trained, you're like, okay, wait, I'm having a trigger, I'm having a response. What's actually going on here? And it almost becomes automatic. You start just thinking, okay, let's go deep. What part of me needs healing, forgiving, whatever here? And the process sometimes, not always, will get faster and easier. But we're all human beings. And I don't care how enlightened you are, how long you've been doing this, as long as you're still alive, you're still in a human body, something sooner or later is going to throw you off your peace, throw you off your bliss. Like something will scare you, something will make you angry, something will make you sad, something will cause an emotion or a thought or an experience of some kind that we label as bad or undesirable. And that's okay, because you're a human being. That's part of having emotions. It's part of life. If you only ever felt happy, you're I don't know how to put this. It's not natural. It's not normal. Something's off. There should be a range of emotions, but I think enlightened people recognize emotions for what they are. They're just emotions. They're just feelings. They don't judge the emotion. They create loving space for all emotion. I think enlightened people allow for fear, sadness, anger, whatever to surface if it's authentic, if it's genuinely motivated, and to hold space for it and say, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now. It doesn't have to define me. It doesn't have to control me. It doesn't mean anything. I don't have to judge it. Just, I am feeling blank. Okay. And then they allow themselves to feel that, recognize maybe why they're feeling it, maybe not. Maybe they just create the space for it and just say, I don't have to understand why. I don't have to do the analysis or go deep. Maybe I just allow. And then, because the emotion has been felt, its message has been communicated to your conscious mind, the emotion then just naturally on its own goes away. It's only when we're resisting emotions that they kind of get stuck in us. I've come to believe that emotions are just feedback. They're just messages. It's just one part of your body, your subconscious, your heart, something kind of beneath the surface of your main conscious awareness, something at a lower level saying, hey, this is the condition, this is the environment that you're in. Things are going well, you're in safe relationships, your essential physical needs are being met, you feel good, you feel happy. Something's wrong, you're not safe, you're in danger, you're in a toxic relationship, there's a major problem that needs resolving sooner rather than later. You feel sad, you feel hurt, you feel angry, whatever. Like, I think it's probably on an evolutionary level, probably a more primitive, older communication system from the body to the brain to let you know things are good, things are bad, do something about it or not. But It's feedback. It's information. It's a message and nothing more. Like, if I handed you a book with a bunch of words in it, it's a book. It has a message. It has text. It says things. You can receive that book and not judge it, not say this is a good book and that's a bad book. I should only have this book and never have that book. You can just recognize it for what it is. It's information. It's words on a page that is expressing something to you, and you can read it and you can say, no, that's valid. I agree. It makes sense. Or, you know what? Okay, message received, but I think it's irrational. It's not based in reality. I don't have to actually do anything about this. But I still acknowledge and receive the information, the message. And that's why we have, these more advanced brains, higher level cognitive thought, where we can analyze and say, okay, you know what? This emotion is giving me very valid, important information right now. I need to act on this. That emotion is irrational and illogical and not based on reality at all. I don't need to act on that. So we have these levels, these layers to us. And I believe enlightened people just do that more consciously. They just recognize emotions happen. They're just feedback. They're just information. I don't have to judge it, label it as good or bad, or fight or resist any of it. Acknowledge it, receive it, feel it, and then decide, is this something I'm going to act on or not? So do people who are enlightened never yell at others, never say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing? I think we're all human, and I think it would be illogical to assume that anyone, no matter how enlightened they are, never has a moment where they lapse, where they make a mistake, where they're not their best self. I mean, it could be something simple like you just didn't get good sleep the night before. You missed breakfast and you're a little hungry and irritable at the moment. It could be you've been overgiving and you're just depleted, and everyone around you has been wanting and needing something from you nonstop, and you're out of balance. You've been giving, and you haven't received enough to stay in flow and stay in balance. And then one more person comes asking for something, and you lose it. You're like, I can't help you right now. You want to help. You love those people, but you weren't in an ideal state. You were depleted. You weren't in your best circumstances. That's going to happen to anybody and everybody, myself included. And don't judge yourself if you lose your cool sometimes, if you snap, if you get angry, if you get scared, if you get stressed. It's okay. It's a part of being human. It's a part of life. Just use it as an opportunity for more love to yourself, if nothing else. To say, it's okay, I am human. I want to do better. I could have done better. I should have done better, but I didn't. Have some compassion. Have some love for yourself. Like, you're trying and you're human. You still have limits. You only have so much to give. You have needs of your own that have to be met one way or another, whether we want to admit that or not. We all have needs. And sometimes those needs aren't being met as fully as we need them to be, or at all. So have some compassion for yourself. Have some patience, some generosity, some gentleness for yourself if you're not always the best version of yourself. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just recognize you're learning, you're growing. This stuff is challenging. So the reality is, some of it's super easy and some of it's super hard, but the super easy stuff we just get right away, and we don't even realize we grew because it was like that fast and easy for us. And it's the hard ones that we personally get stuck on. And we're like, oh, I keep struggling to learn this lesson, to grow in this way. And so it feels hard. But the reality is you are learning things quickly and easily too. But it's so easy and natural for you. You're not even like registering it, recognizing it sometimes. So I just want to give you some credit there and acknowledge like you are doing really well in some areas. Don't just hyper focus on the areas where you need improvement. Look at what you're doing right, because that's part of you too. I mean, think about that like right now. Like, what's 1, 2, 3 areas that you're good at, something that you like about yourself, something that you do well that maybe not everybody else is as naturally good at. Like maybe you always make time for your friends, or maybe you're really good at holding space to make someone feel loved and safe. Maybe you love helping others in a certain way, teaching, or I don't know if anyone still does this these days, but like helping a little old lady walk across the street. It can be something small and simple, but a lot of people don't do these simple things. Maybe you're on social media and you just post positive memes and positive messages. And that's your contribution to your circle of friends, to your community, to add a little light and positivity to their world. I don't have to tell you, there's plenty of people not doing that. There's plenty of people posting the opposite. And it might be so natural and automatic to you, you don't even realize it. You don't even think like, oh yeah, that is something good that I do. You might share videos. Feel free to share any of mine if you like. But you might come across an inspirational video, a healing video, a funny video. Like the laughter is a gift, right? I have a couple friends where I do that with. I might be on Instagram and be like, oh, this is a really great message, or this is just really cute and funny. My one friend will love this. It'll just be a moment to brighten his day, and I'll send that to him. It can be small stuff like that because there's a lot of people who aren't doing anything like that. But it's still adding a little light, a little love, a little laughter to someone else's day. That's fantastic. You are helping them feel better. That is a gift. It doesn't seem big, but think about how you feel if you're stressed, you're having a rough day at work, you're exhausted or whatever, and then a friend you know and love, someone you care about, was thinking of you and sent you a message saying, hey, I saw this cute little funny video. It made me think of you. I thought it would give you a good laugh. Here you go. And then you watch it and you're like, oh yeah, that was funny. I got a good laugh out of it. Like it gave you a respite. It gave you a break from whatever problems you were dealing with, some relief. Maybe actually brightened your mood overall and just made the rest of the day a little bit easier. But also just knowing like, hey, somebody out there cares about me. Somebody out there was thinking about me. How often just that is meaningful? It doesn't take much to be a positive influence in someone's day. And it's those personal relationships where we get the greatest leverage, the greatest, mileage out of whatever we're doing. So think about every way you do something good, something well, something kind, something loving, or things in the world that might be triggering and upsetting others, but you are able to keep your peace and calm through it, your centeredness through it. You're able to see the silver lining and look for the positive side of anything that's going on in the world. Like I don't know what your specialties are, your gifts, but I know you have some. So take a moment to recognize you are already doing good things. You are already doing things right. You have already grown considerably as a soul, as a person. Sometimes those of us, and I'm only speaking from experience here, I know all too well personally, we can really get into this personal growth and development stuff. And we're always watching the next video, reading the next book, going to the next seminar and workshop. And we're always trying to get better, 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 better. And we never stop to look back at how far we've come. Do I think I'm enlightened? I think it's a spectrum. I think it's a growth thing. I think there's degrees and layers of it. I'm more enlightened than I used to be. I'm not as enlightened as I will be. And I think that's honestly just what any of us could say about ourselves. If you're on the path to learn and grow, start where you're at with what you have and just keep trying to grow. Keep trying to learn. Just do what you can. I believe enlightenment is an ongoing growth process. I think we are always learning, always growing, and always becoming more enlightened as time goes on. And the more you grow, the more enlightened you become, I think the less you'll get triggered. I think the more emotionally fulfilled you'll be in life, the more like feeling aligned and on track with your life purpose and mission you'll feel. But it's not a yes, no, on, off, black, white kind of thing. I think it's gradual, and we will sometimes get thrown off course, thrown off center, off balance. But the more enlightened you become, the quicker you recognize it, and the quicker you're able to get back into balance. That's how I would define it. What do you think? How do you define enlightenment? Do you feel you are enlightened? In reality, each of us is probably more enlightened in certain areas of life than in others. There's probably areas of your life that you are really wise and mature and enlightened in that maybe I have very little knowledge or experience or growth in myself. This is the beauty of being on a planet with a bunch of other people, is we can learn from each other. We can help each other grow. We can each be strong in different areas, and your strength can help cover my weakness, and my strength can help cover your weakness. And together, we can learn, we can grow, we can be invincible, we can be amazing, we can accomplish all kinds of cool stuff because we have different gifts, different strengths, different expertise, enlightenment in different areas. Nobody is a master of everything. Be you. Be what you're really good at. And just continue learning and growing across the board. Get even better at the things you're already good at, and try to get better at the things you're not so good at. But be patient, be loving, compassionate with yourself along that journey. So thank you so much for watching and sitting all the way through to the end of this video. I appreciate you. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and check out this video. I think you'll love it. And if not, well, okay, I've got more videos. All right. Love you. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.